Hello and welcome to Runkle of the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. So today I want to bring some news to you about what's going on a little bit behind the scenes. To do so, I need to give you a bit of background. So across Canada, there's less than 100 businesses. I'm not sure on the exact number, but I understand it's less than 100 that the chief firearms officers recognize as being allowed to perform deactivations of prohibited and restricted firearms. Deactivation, of course, just means damaging the gun to the point where it can't be sort of easily restored and therefore no longer counts as a firearm in Canadian law. Now, technically speaking, in terms of the law, anybody can really deactivate a firearm. I mean, you can do it with a sledgehammer. If you smash it flat, it's deactivated. However, the chief firearms officers will only recognize this deactivation process if it's done by one of these approved gunsmiths. So if it's done by somebody else, they're not going to approve that. Now, so that's sort of a way they try to keep a hold on this, but it's not really the way the law actually works. But because of this, you'd need to go to these gunsmiths in order to get the registration certificates canceled, so that they're not, raiding your house for these guns, that kind of thing. So this is kind of a key way they keep control over this. Now, because there's less than 100, this is kind of a coveted thing to have, because if somebody ends up with one of these guns and they want to, to keep it, notwithstanding the fact that they don't have, the proper licensing, usually this is sort of an inheritance kind of situation. Some family member has died with a bunch of prohibited firearms and, their kids want to keep them, but they can't because they don't have the right licensing. So they go and take them to get them dewadded. With only a limited number of gunsmiths having this authorization, it's kind of a coveted thing to have. It opens up business doors that otherwise are closed to you. Now, with that in mind, the chief firearms officers in various provinces, I've spoken to gunsmiths in multiple provinces, have been sending out letters saying, hey, we'd like to extend to you a special offer. And, this is a one-time deal. Get in now or you're going to be out of luck. And what this offer is they're asking people, send us a sample of a deactivated firearm to these specifications for our, approval. Basically show us that you can do it to the specifications. And we're trying to expand greatly the number of gunsmiths that we have who will deactivate restricted and prohibited firearms. So please, send us this sample. We will include you now in this highly coveted group. And they've said that this may be a temporary thing, but there's lots of people, I'm sure, out there who are now considering this and going, do I want to participate? This could be opening some business doors to me. And I can pretty much guarantee you it is a plan to open some business doors to you, but we'll see if that's something you want to do. So if you've been following along this point, you're probably saying, why would they want to suddenly expand the number of businesses that can do this? Because, as I said, they've been using this as a means of kind of keeping tight control over, certain activities. Why would they want to give that up? Why would they want to? Well, the short answer, and in fact, the only one I can think of here, is the Order in Council. Because of these new firearm prohibitions, they want to really expand the number of people who can deactivate firearms, because this is probably going to be part of their strategy for how to go about the buyback and other sort of processes. So, for gun owners who are just, sort of gun owners generally, be aware that it looks like they're sort of stepping up their, buyback plans into gear, and that this seems to be how they're going to be trying to do it. It seems possible, at least, that they're not going to be asking, the RCMP and police forces to do this, because they'd be overwhelmed. There's simply so many of these things out there that they'd have the police departments kind of, wondering what to do with these tons of guns they're suddenly getting. Um, so it looks like they're trying to do this through gunsmiths. Uh, Now, we don't yet know what the buyback is going to look like fully. They haven't fully detailed that. It looks like they're taking these steps without making sort of full public announcements. And it looks like they've sort of identified a bottleneck here in terms of what do we do with these guns. So, for the gunsmiths out there, there are some things you will want to think about when this program is coming up for, for consideration when you've got one of these letters. The first thing is that if you say, hey, I want to participate, here's my sample gun, etc., you are likely to end up on a flyer that goes out or an email or some other mail out that identifies you as a key participant in the buyback, that you have agreed to participate in this program and that you are a place that people can take their guns for destruction pursuant to the buyback. How do you think that's going to affect customer goodwill? Because I can guarantee you a lot of customers are not going to be super keen about finding out that their local trusted gunsmith is working with the Liberal Party of Canada to wipe out, this essentially, 3-gun, a part of the Canadian shooting sports, part of shooting heritage. There's a lot of people, like a lot of these firearms that people own are going to be heirloom firearms. They're going to be things that people have put a lot of love into and a lot of care and attention. So do you want to be on that mail out is question number one, because, that's a big thing to look at. Question number two is, do you want to help this thing happen? Because if it's clear that they've identified this as sort of a bottleneck and they want your help in fixing the bottleneck, they're really looking for gunsmiths who are willing to act against the firearm community in order to turn a buck. So, I'm not going to say one way or another what you should do, because I recognize, a lot of gunsmiths right now might be having a hard time. You might be struggling. We've got plagues going on. We've got government, which is its own kind of plague at times. It might be really hard to keep the lights on, pay the mortgage. I get it. You've got really tough choices to make right now. But you're going to want to think real hard about this one, especially because it's probably not the case that they're going to just give you restricted or prohibited deactivation privileges going forward. They're going to want to get that control back. That system where they keep it very tightly locked down to a very small number. They're not going to want to give that up. They just want to solve their problem right now. So you're probably not going to end up ahead of the game in general. You may end up blowing your reputation for a short-term ability to just earn a little bit of money processing these deactivations. So again, your call. I'm not a gunsmith. I'm not in that position, but I would not want to participate in the buyback and order in council program. I would not want to be a cog in that particular engine. So that's just something going on. I wanted to let people know that that's happening. Please don't call your local gunsmith to harass them. They have enough stuff to worry about without everybody freaking out and, calling them and, especially like don't go threatening them saying, if you do this, I'm not going to ever buy from you. They don't need it. Like, they've already got enough stress here. Don't freak out at this stage is kind of what I'm saying. Just wait and see what happens. But I wanted people to know kind of what's happening behind the scenes. And I also want to thank the gunsmiths that talked to me. A few of them sort of reached out to say, hey, here's this weird thing going on. You should know about it. You should maybe, do some asking around. I put out a call and I got some, some additional feedback, because I didn't want to go and say, hey, there's this thing going on, and then find out it's only Alberta or, only like 4 stores or however many. I wanted to make sure that this was a, a big thing before I sort of brought it to you guys. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments below. Tell me if you've got some additional information about this one, because I kind of shook my head when I saw this. We don't yet know what the program's going to be like, but it seems like they're figuring it out kind of behind closed doors and hoping that they can just announce this. And yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like this video. Please share it with your friends, especially, gun-owning friends or gunsmith friends. And please subscribe to see more content. I also want to thank my Patreon supporters at the $50 level: Sir Daniel Wicks, Alberta, Jason Elliott, D. Moe, Canada's National Firearms Association, North Central Process Service, and Kyle Martin. At the $20 level, Dale Nesbitt, Cameron Johnson, and Andrew Elsich. And at the $30 level, Sights and Arms Limited, as well as a number of you at the $10 level who will be in the crawl immediately following. Thank you for watching, and I hope this has armed you with knowledge.